is going to be joining us tomorrow as our mini meteorologist, and I am so excited. She has a lot of spunk, a lot of personality, and she's going to be with us all morning. We can't wait, and thankfully, we're all going to love her because she's going to bring in some warmer weather next week.
Oh,
so
good,
we're going to be
good.
big fans.
But
big
is she
fans.
going to be mad when she has to get up tomorrow and if
What if
school
they have a
is
snow
out?
day? I know. I actually thought about that. Sorry. Well, if your child loves weather, sign them up to be a mini meteorologist. It's our favorite day of the week. Hey, we're going to continue to see some cooler temperatures both today and tomorrow. Frigid, in fact. That's a really good word for today. Next week, ladies, we warm on up.
Okay, looking forward to it.
60 degrees next week. That
Everyone's
sounds
going
good.
like this again.
See me? Can you feel me? We are live in Deer Lodge in Morgan County where the snow continues to fall, creating some icy and frigid conditions on the roadways here.
And we've consistently seen some nice snow flurries continue to make their way. This is a view over Douglas Lake. We'll talk more details about the frigid temperatures we have in place today coming up.
And the latest from Kentucky, as communities still recovering from deadly flooding are now dealing with snow, ice, and freezing temperatures.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us here on Fox 43, and we're streaming live on WBIR+. We've got our whole team here this morning.
We sure do. We are live and in person for you on WBIR+ and here on Fox, so thanks for joining us from all the areas. And we are covering all the areas this morning.
Well, especially the roads.
We are. I mean, I know Aaron's kind of picked the short end of the straw this entire week, being out in the elements. And this morning, he is out live in Morgan County, where he is tracking some of the roads that we have in place. We'll hear more from Aaron in just a little bit, but if you are heading out on the roads this morning, we've had a lot of people on social media try to give us some input as to where we're running into some difficulties. Out in the Douglas Lake area, we are continuing to see a lot of the heaviest snow start to taper off. Still looking at a few little flurries continuing to slide into the region, but most of this moisture is now pushing up into the higher elevations, which is where we do have a winter weather advisory that is in place. Now we will have the chance again for seeing just some light flurry activity, even carrying on beyond this moisture, because you have to think when we have such cold air in place, it likes to wring out the atmosphere. So I'm looking out on our weather porch right now, and I can still see just a few more little light snow flurries coming down. This isn't going to add much to accumulation, but on top of already seeing some chilly temperatures, the potential for some icy roads, there's a lot of concerns that will be in place as we go throughout the start of your Thursday. A cold weather advisory will be in effect until 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. This is highlighting temperatures tomorrow morning starting off into the single digits for some, with wind chill values getting down below zero. Already this morning across parts of Fentress County, we have a wind chill right now of -1. 4 degrees is what it feels like in Wartburg, 1 degree in Huntsville. The feels like temperatures are for areas shaded in this orange. The actual air temperatures shaded in white. It is cold outside this morning, and it's going to be below freezing as we go throughout the rest of the day. We'll highlight much more of your extended forecast and have a look at your future casts coming up in just a little bit. Ladies.
Rebecca, thank you. Many school districts are closed again today due to the weather. That includes Knox and Anderson counties. Maryville City schools also closed today. We have a full list on our website and scrolling right now at the bottom of your screen.
Well, right now, many of us are waking up to freezing temperatures, and road crews are out warning drivers that there are some icy spots in some areas, but they're out trying to salt and brine the roads right now.
That's right. And we're really focused on the back roads this morning. Aaron Velasquez has been out all morning and is now in Morgan County. What's it look like there?
Yeah, good morning, ladies. I'll tell you, we came up through Morgan County, obviously up 162 into Oak Ridge. Then we got on to 62. We came up Rome Road. We didn't really see a lot of issues on those major highways. When I was on 62, I saw a little bit of issue when I was driving through Wartburg. Really on the top of those hills, those crests of hills, we were seeing a lot of collection. I also didn't see much issues here on Rome Road. We did go through some patches of some icy conditions. And I want to show you the highway behind me. You can see how the snow from this morning is starting to accumulate and ice over, leading to some slick spots, even on this main highway that had been treated and has seen a fair amount of traffic in the time that we've been here. I wanted to tell you as well that Becca's been mentioning is these frigid temperatures. We are currently, I think, sitting around 15, 16 degrees, but the feels like, and the wind chill is bringing it down close to near zero. It is very cold, so be sure if you are heading out today to bundle up, dress up. Don't forget your gloves at home like I did. Just dress warm, beanies, thermal layers, all of that, because it is near freezing, right? I mean, more than freezing right now out here in Morgan County. We were hearing reports last night of some wrecks and some sketchy ice situations on Gatewood Ford Road. That's going into Fentress County from Morgan County. Unfortunately, we're not able to check that road out ourselves, but from what we're seeing on some of the side roads here in Deer Lodge, I'm sure that it's definitely some icy and patchy conditions over there in Fentress as well. So just be safe if you do head out this morning. We'll send it back to you, ladies.
Boy, you look behind Aaron and you see it is dicey in some of those outlying counties, that's for sure.
Oh, we know you're cold. All right, get some gloves on. I'm going to just be your
He
mother
doesn't
for a
have
second.
them, bless his little heart.
Poor Aaron.
Bless
Need
his
some hand
little
warmers or
heart.
something. It's cold out there, Rebecca.
I mean, yes, yesterday we were outside with our kiddos, and I'm not going to lie, there was a brief moment where their gloves got wet. We had to switch them out, which you may run into the same situation. And just in that brief little time period of not having anything covering hands or over your face, I mean, we're talking about temperatures in most of our areas where Aaron's at this morning, even into the single digits, feeling like below zero. And so some frigid weather is in place. And this is why we always want to remind you folks to try and cover up as much of your exposed skin as possible. It is a winter wonderland in Gatlinburg this morning. If you are visiting with us right now here across East Tennessee and you're up in Gatlinburg, it's a perfect morning, folks, to sit next to the fire, drink some hot chocolate, some coffee, and take things slow. This is an area in particular where I do expect to see some of this snow sticking around even through about mid-morning. It's light snow. It's light, dry snow that is going to continue to be able to just kind of blow around. No major impacts at this moment. We're going to have more on your traffic in just a moment. But in addition to watching some snow in place this morning, we also have a cold weather advisory that will be with us through tomorrow morning. We're going to continue to monitor this snow, still staying into the higher elevations up through the early part of the afternoon, clearing skies tonight, which means tomorrow morning is going to be even more frigid. We'll start off tomorrow with wake-up temperatures into the teens and into the single digits, with highs tomorrow finally getting above freezing. Today, not going to be getting above freezing. We'll have more on your extended forecast in just a little bit. But Tavian, we're running into a few issues now across parts of Northeast Tennessee.
Yes, we are. Starting you off with a camera view right now at Alcoa Highway on Cumberland Avenue. So really things are looking clear for the most part, but I wanted you to pay attention to how there is still some of that light snowfall here right along the edge of this entrance ramp as it is kind of declining to kind of merge into that third lane. So spaces like that along the edge of the road, you want to be especially careful. But I'll quickly move over into drive times because we are seeing our first crash of the morning right along I-81 northbound in Greene County between exit 23, which is Andrew Johnson Highway, and exit 30, which is Lonesome Pine. So we are starting to see some congestion as you work your way back past Baileytown towards Mohawk. Again, that's going to be going northbound. So as you try to make your way further out towards Charlottetown and eventually toward the Tri-Cities. So keep things slow, especially with the icy conditions that we are seeing on the road. Elsewhere through the area, we are starting to see some isolated slowdowns and things are looking relatively clear. But let's switch gears over actually into Kentucky, where we are starting to see again more of the impactful conditions from all of the rain and even the snow as we look over at the past couple of days. Governor Beshear shared that there are over 14 people that have passed, possibly in counting, and 220 roads that are now closed because of the flooding and the snow. I've actually got a video of some of it behind me where you can see the snowfall here in some of those locations, icicles and floodwaters that are still area wide. And so what we're starting to see now from this point are people trying to recover in the midst of all of this flooding and some of this snow. What you're taking a look at here are the stream flow levels, which is essentially the river levels that we look at across the area. In Tennessee, we've watched a lot of that activity start to quiet down. We're in that 25 to 75 quartile, or maybe getting a little bit closer. But you look further up into Kentucky, you see more of the dark blue, more of the black dots, which signify high river levels. A lot of these rivers still not expected to crest until Friday or maybe even later into the weekend. You're looking at a series of river flood warnings as you look along the Kentucky line as it borders a lot of the other Midwestern states. But while they're dealing with all of that rainfall, what they're now having to turn their attention to is the cold weather. That's on top of even some of the snowfall that they've seen. We are looking at feel-like wind chill values as cold as 4 in Lexington, -2 in Kentucky. That's what you're seeing here, these negatives, as you look across the pink on the western side of the state. All of that on top of the snowfall that they've been seeing not just yesterday, but over the entirety of the season. Since December 1st, Louisville has seen 20.6 inches. Lexington has seen 19, Bowling Green and Paducah a little over 8, and Jackson just under 3 inches of snow. But all of these totals are significantly higher than their average. On average, Louisville is seeing 9.5 inches, and they still have multiple inches of snow that is on the ground as we speak. So it is a tiring situation to say the least, especially when people are trying to recover from severe weather. So ladies, in the next half hour, I'm going to be talking about how people are doing that.
All right. Thank you very much, Tavian, for keeping us updated. A dicey situation for a lot of people.
Yeah, we do want to turn our attention now to roads monitored by Blount County, and joining on the phone with us right now is Lance Coleman from Blount County Emergency Management Agency. Lance, thanks for being with us. We know you guys have had some long hours. How is it in Blount County this morning?
I checked in. Well, honestly, it took me 30 minutes to get to the dispatch center, but it normally takes 15. The main routes are passable, but the side roads and the secondary roads are pretty slick. I checked in with dispatch. They've got wrecks all over, but fortunately they are non-injury wrecks, so we're thankful for that. But it's a pretty slick situation right now as far as roads.
Boy, Lance, quite a situation in some of our counties. You know, when we came in this morning, it was fine on the roads, and then some flurries started flying around and accumulated in some spots. Is that what you're seeing?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of calls are you getting from people in the area?
For the most part, again, people are sliding off the road. And we have a tractor trailer that was stuck on black ice. And again, fortunately, though, these are non-injury wrecks, and so we're grateful for that.
Lance, are you excited for 60-degree temperatures next week?
Very.
I think it couldn't come soon enough.
Yeah, Lance is like, I'd like to sleep in again. Thank you.
All right. Well, Lance, we know you guys are working hard. Thanks so much for checking in with us, and keep us posted on how things are going there in Blount County.
All right, take care. Thank you.
All right. You are watching Fox 43 News this morning and streaming on WBIR Plus. Coming up, we have more of your top stories in the next half hour. We're talking about the unique deal between rural farmers in the state to help clean up debris left behind by Hurricane Helene.
And the story of boxer Big John Tate at 717, how he made his mark in both the ring and Knoxville's history books.
Good morning, everybody. It's a weather impact alert day this morning, and we're actually hearing from a lot of people across the area. This little light dusting of snow that made its way into the region definitely causing some concerns across the area. It is certainly going to be slowing you down, especially on some roads that are less traveled on, back roads, secondary roads. And it looks like this moisture, as models were depicting, it's kind of hanging around up into the higher elevations, which is where we do have a winter weather advisory that will be in place. But on top of this winter weather advisory, and something that is going to be much more noticeable throughout the day per se, is this cold weather advisory that we have in place. This is from the National Weather Service, highlighting that we could have temperatures tonight dropping down into the single digits, with wind chill values getting down perhaps near zero, if not below zero. We'll watch this cold air in place as we go throughout the day. So the snow that fell yesterday, the additional snow that we're watching this morning, is not going to be going anywhere anytime soon. It's going to stay with us as we go throughout the day. We'll watch most of this falling precipitation up into the higher elevations. It will taper off as we go forward throughout the rest of the morning and into the afternoon. And then we see high pressure that's going to be increasing across the region. So this area of high pressure is going to be sliding in from west to east. It's going to bring in more sunshine. It's going to draw in some warmer air as we go into the weekend. And we're finally going to see temperatures closer to near average. So here's a glimpse again of your satellite and radar where we can see some of those quieter conditions into the early part of next week. Potential rainfall again. You won't see much in the form of rain over the next couple of days. We will see more of our rain moving into the region by the middle part of next week, with models showing anywhere between our next chance for rain moving in by next week, Wednesday and into Thursday. So this is a glimpse again of your 7-day forecast. We'll have much more coming up with your extended forecast in just a little bit. But Tavian, we have been running into some issues here across East Tennessee, especially up into Northeast Tennessee.
Yes, we have. However, what you're taking a look on your camera at right now is 640 of Broadway. I did have a view over of 115 where you were able to see, that's Alcoa Highway by Cumberland, you were able to see kind of along the edges, along your ramps, you're still going to see a little bit of snowfall, possibly kind of bleeding into those regions. So be especially careful when you're merging onto certain highways because there may still be a little bit of snow. That's where a lot of your black ice is going to be more likely. And again, always remember that your bridges freeze faster than your overpasses. But while my hand is over here, take a look at two incidents that we're looking at in Greene County in particular. When you look at your SmartWay cameras, you're not going to see both of them. But the first one that occurred was a vehicle rolling over on 81 northbound right by exit 36 Baileyton Road. But further down the way, still on 81 northbound, there was a multi-vehicle crash between exit 23, which is Andrew Johnson Highway, and exit 30, which is Lonesome Pike Trail. That is starting to see congestion build up as you work your way further down south towards Mohawk and Mossheim. So just be especially careful while you're out there on the roads. Everything else, thankfully, looking pretty clear. But ladies, I'll send things on to you.
All right, thank you, Tavian. It's Black History Month, and today we share the story of Knoxville's forgotten champion, Big John Tate. Tate trained for his professional boxing career here in Knoxville and would claim the title of heavyweight champion of the world.
Our documentary on Big John Tate is streaming here on WBIR+. Here's a preview.
In this corner, from Knoxville, Tennessee, Big John Tate.
This poor, uneducated fella who came to town riding on the back of a trash truck would eventually become the heavyweight champion of the world.
I saw him fight in the Southeastern USA boxing tournament, and he beat a heavyweight that nobody could beat. I said, if you'll come to Knoxville, Tennessee and listen to what you're told to do, you'll be champion of the world.
40 miles outside of Johannesburg, and this is the most significant sports event South Africa has ever seen.
Helped to cause the first integration of the stadium in South Africa and create so much awareness of what was going on.
The new heavyweight champion of the world, John Tate.
People on the outside don't know what's going on the inside. This is a lot of work in here. If people go back and watch some of his old fights, then they can see that John was a very good boxer.
Willie Vander Holyfield, Mike Tyson, or Roy Jones, who are more prominent names, and they all boxed in this gym, in that ring right there. People know their names more, but they don't know John.
He was a warrior, he was a champion. He was the baddest man on the planet for a minute.
And as you can see, you can stream it now on WBIR+. Thank you for watching here on our streaming app. By the way, if you haven't downloaded it, it is free to download on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple. We're going to check that forecast now with Rebecca Sweet. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Well, some of the biggest impacts that we've had in place as of this morning have been primarily for areas to the east of I-75, moving up into the foothills and into the higher elevations of the Smokies. And even though a majority of this snow is coming to an end, we still have the possibility of kind of wringing out a few more flurries here across East Tennessee. So the first headline is talking about some of the light snow showers that are making their way into the area. We will watch very cold temperatures be in place with a cold weather advisory all the way through tomorrow morning. Lows tonight could drop down into the teens and into the single digits, with wind chill values potentially getting to be near zero, if not below zero. So really it's the cold weather that is going to be the #1 headline that we are going to be tracking as we go throughout the start of the day. Now after that, we're going to be looking at the potential for some warmer weather as we go into the weekend. Oh, it's going to be so nice. This morning, in addition to seeing some very cold temperatures, we do have a few flurries, and we've heard from a lot of people that this little light snow on top of already freezing conditions has made for some very tough travel. We're continuing to watch this up into the higher elevations. It looks like a winter wonderland into parts of Blount and into Sevier counties, up into Cocke and Greene counties as well, seeing the impacts of some of this light snow. Cold weather advisory is in effect until 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, and with this cold weather in place, we always want to remind you folks to dress in layers. Avoid as much time outside as you can as possible, and this applies to you, your pets, your neighbors. Check on your neighbors, make sure that they have a proper heating source as well, and again, stay safe. We'll talk more about these warmer temperatures we'll see next week coming up. Ladies.
Rebecca, thank you. You're watching Fox 43 News this morning and streaming here on WBIR+. When we come back, we have 3 things to know. Why prosecutors still want a Maryville man to serve a sentence after President Trump pardoned him for his actions during the January 6th Capitol riot.
Then Post Online claimed TVA will do rolling blackouts this week due to the freezing temps. At 7:38, we take your questions to TVA leaders to get their answer. The family will welcome friends in the community at 11 in the morning until 2 at Wartburg Central High School. The funeral will immediately follow. All right, we're checking in on that forecast now with Rebecca Sweet. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Giving you a glimpse into Gatlinburg again. It's a winter wonderland up into the higher elevations. I said this before, but if you're in Gatlinburg this morning, it's a great morning to sit next to the fireplace, take things nice and slow, stay in your snuggly pajamas. If you do have to hit the roads, folks, make sure you're giving yourself some extra time, as we could be running into some slippery conditions. We do have weather impact alert days in place today and into tomorrow morning. This is highlighting the frigid weather that is going to be in place. We'll have highs today staying below freezing. Tomorrow morning, lows dropping down into the teens and into the single digits. We'll warm back up with more sunshine on the way into the weekend, 40s and 50s. And boy, next week, nice to see a 60 going into your Wednesday. We'll have much more coming up on this snow coming up in just a little bit.
To kill FBI agents in 2022 should serve his time. President Trump pardoned Edward Kelly for his role in the January 6th Capitol riots. Prosecutors say the plot to kill FBI agents is independent of his role in the Capitol riots, and that charge should not be dropped. They say Kelly came up with the plan in 2022, long after the riots. Kelly is set to be sentenced in May. And if you missed this early morning show this morning, you can still stream it now for free on WBIR Plus. And we do want to mention that we are streaming now live on WBIR Plus from 7 to 9. So join us over there. For now, we send it to Tavian to check the morning commute. Good morning.
Good morning, Abby. What I'm giving you a look at right now is Alcoa Highway at Cumberland Avenue. This is going right now, I believe, to the southbound. What you're starting to look at is more activity that is starting to pick up, although I can't quite tell if that's just compacted snow or maybe even likely not some brine. But we're starting to see snow on the tops of cars, snow along your entrance and exit ramps, so just be especially careful. Bring on over into the T-Dot camera. It does look like we're starting to see some clearing as you look along I-81 northbound. The multi-vehicle crash does seem as though it has been resolved. We may still be seeing some impacts from the road over vehicle by exit 36. That's Baileyton Road. Otherwise, in East Tennessee, things are looking pretty good. No other crashes to discuss, so everyone just take it slow out there. But Rebecca, how are things looking with the forecast?
You know, both you and I have been talking about this snow all morning, Tavian. We're continuing to see the snow pushing up into the higher elevations. This is where we do have a winter weather advisory in effect through the day. We'll also watch a cold weather advisory with temperatures tonight dropping down into the teens and single digits. We'll look at a nice warming trend into early next week.
conditions as the snow continues to fall and icy conditions are expected on some of these back roads and side roads.
And we're continuing to see still a few flurries in place. This is a view from Douglas Lake. Details on the cold temperatures we'll continue to watch coming up.
Plus, people in Kentucky recovering from deadly flooding, now dealing with a couple inches of snow and freezing temperatures. How the state's handling this extreme weather today, Thursday, February 20th, 2025.
Live from Knoxville, you're watching Fox 43 News this morning.
Oh, good morning, everybody. We are keeping you up to date on all the things you need to know this morning, live on WBIR Plus and here on Fox.
That's right. Poor Aaron. He's got to be so cold out there. He's been out there for hours, and it is freezing.
And
He's so strong.
Guess where his gloves are at?
Here.
Not with
In
him.
his drawer at work.
If somebody in Morgan County wants to find Aaron some gloves, I think he would appreciate it.
I know. Come and help us
Mittens,
out.
he'll take mittens.
Anything
Mittens
at
would
this
be
point.
cute.
Those are actually, they keep your fingers warm. I've heard rather than gloves. Actually, it is proven. But
Oh,
anyway,
okay.
we're
Little
just going to
science for
move
you.
right on,
Period.
folks. There you go. A little knowledge that you need to know this morning. Hey, as you head outside, we're going to continue to see some snow flurries continuing to push their way up into parts of the higher elevations. 20 degrees this morning. Feels like 11. We're still seeing some cooler temperatures in place because we're bringing out the atmosphere. We're going to be watching again these cooler temperatures carrying on as we go throughout the start of the day. A little bit of some flurry activity pushing through up into the higher elevations this morning. This is where we do have a winter weather advisory that is in effect all the way through the evening hours. We'll continue to watch again the possibility for seeing some of these flurries sticking around as we go throughout the rest of the day, kind of tapering off as we get closer to about mid-morning and into the early part of the afternoon. We are continuing to watch a winter weather advisory that's in effect through the evening. For some areas, we could see an additional 1 to 2 inches of snow. In addition to watching that winter weather advisory, we do have a cold weather advisory that is in effect until 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, highlighting that we could have wake-up temperatures getting down into the single digits, if not below zero, which is actually where some of us are at early this morning. Jamestown feeling like -1. 2 degrees is what it feels like in Huntsville, 13 in Wartburg, 1 degree in Crossville. Jackets, hats, gloves going to be needed as we're not going to be seeing highs today above freezing. We'll have much more coming up on your extended forecast in just a little bit. Ladies.
Thank you. We continue our team coverage this morning, checking in on the road conditions across East Tennessee.
Aaron Velasquez is live from Morgan County. Aaron, how's it looking out there? Still cold?
Yeah, as the sun started to come up, we're starting to get a clearer picture of the Deer Lodge Highway here in Deer Lodge. You can see behind me, I'll have Jillian show you. The snow's been falling all morning since we've been here. It's been really light, but these frigid temperatures meaning that anything that's hitting this highway and this road right now is just freezing. There's a lot of patches of ice. We haven't seen anybody having any trouble with driving on this highway right now, but I can tell you that it is going to be patches of ice around this highway and all around other small back roads here in Morgan County. We came up Rome Road earlier and we did encounter some patches of ice. We had to slow down to probably about 35 miles per hour. So take it slow. And if you are just scared if you're driving over ice or not, just better be safe than sorry. Drive slow. You're going to see a lot of ice accumulation on those hills, going up, and then the crest of hills is where we saw a lot of the ice accumulation on the roads here. But the main highways, 162 into Oak Ridge, was clear when we drove on it. We did encounter a little bit of patchiness of ice on 62 going into Wartburg, passing through Wartburg, I should say, on our way up here to Deer Lodge. But as Becca's been mentioning, it is frigidly cold, feels like around 2 degrees. So just be sure you layer up, dress warm, and have your beanie, gloves, and scarves, everything like that.
Yes,
At all
absolutely.
times.
Yeah, don't go home without it. Thank you.
Be careful out there. We do want to turn our attentions to the roads now in Knox County.
Jim Snowden is with us again, now just a regular part of our show. You're the third anchor, Jim Snowden. Thanks for being here with us this morning.
Thank you, ladies.
All right, let's talk about the roads in Knox County. When we came in, it seemed everything's fine.
Yeah.
And then it started kind of flurrying and the cold set in. What are you seeing?
You're right. We did about 4:45 see some snow come in, kind of cover the roads back up. Thankfully, most of our main roads now we've got clear. The roads we have applied salt to are now clearing up. But there are still obviously going to be a lot of back roads that we haven't got to yet that folks need to be extremely cautious on.
Are there any changes you're seeing out there? I know earlier you said kind of Halls and Powell, and then you said it was starting to be more widespread. Is that still the case?
It is pretty much widespread. We have started putting calcium chloride on our salt now. That lowers that freezing efficiency, so we are doing that to try to combat this extremely cold weather. But like I said, if folks have any challenges, they see any locations, please give us a call, and we'll definitely get a truck dispatched to that area immediately.
Y'all are like chemists over there, mixing the brine mixture to put out on the roads to keep us all safe. We were seeing the potions being mixed in our video.
Well, there's some science to it. Yeah, you guys are working hard.
Yes, ma'am. Just let us know any way we can help.
All right, Jim, thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate it.
And coming up in our next half hour, we're going to talk live with Fentress County EMA Director James Bilbrey. We have heard reports of extra snow and ice for them overnight. All right, Rebecca's keeping an eye on those areas for us too. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Yeah, I will say a lot of the back roads and the secondary roads that I've been hearing from viewers have just been saying they are very tough to drive on. If you can get to a main road, concerns should be much less. Now, I want to give you a quick look as to what we're seeing across the country because, yes, well, we are cold, folks. This cold weather is originating from Canada. It's continuing to bring in this Arctic blast that's continuing to bring in chilly temperatures from the Dakotas all the way down into parts of Oklahoma and Texas. Well, guess what? We're warmer than Dallas this morning here across East Tennessee. You can see these extreme cold warnings that we have for areas in blue. This goes all the way from North Dakota down through the Central Plains and right along the United States and Mexico border. In fact, here across East Tennessee, we're going to be watching a cold weather advisory in place. And now this is highlighting temperatures still trending well below average, potentially looking at wind chill factors tonight, getting near zero, if not below zero. So you do want to make sure that you are definitely practicing safety when it comes to these chillier temperatures. Don't spend an extended period of time outside if it's not needed. We're going to watch an area of high pressure that is centralizing across the United States push its way into our region. That's going to give us some of the coldest temperatures tonight, but thankfully we warm on up as we get closer to the weekend. Tavian, we're going to send things over to you as we're seeing some improvements across Northeast Tennessee, but still some slowdowns across the area.
Yes, we are. And so you're taking a look at 640 at Western. They were talking about that calcium chloride, Jim Snowden was. That may be what we're seeing here as we look across the road here at 640 at Western. Well, clearly people are driving over it with no issues. In particular, you can see snow in a lot of the central areas and maybe a little bit along the ramps, but overall things are looking calm. So let's keep things that way. Now, as we move on over into the drive times map, what you are going to see is that we are still investigating just the singular incident that has now cleared up a little bit. We were looking at the multi-vehicle crash between exits 23 and 30. Looks like that has cleared, but we are looking at a little bit of leftover congestion from that and this vehicle that was turned over by exit 36, which is Baileyton Road. Otherwise, through the area, looking pretty good. Mostly green as we look across your drive times, improving in Northeast Tennessee, but take it slow, especially as you're seeing some of those icier conditions. But let's take a moment and switch things over into what's going on in Kentucky. They have continued to deal with the damage and the flooding really not just this past weekend, but even further beyond that. Community is still recovering, and Governor Andy Beshear has confirmed at least 14 people have died in the floodwaters, along with 220 roads that are now closed because of the flooding and also the snow. What I've got here behind me is some video of all of that flooding, because now you get the floodwaters and impacts of the ice that begins to freeze certain things over, and even snowflakes falling as people continue to try to recover from these kinds of conditions. They're still looking at extremely high river levels. You can see it here, and a lot of these dark blue and black dots along our rivers, they're still looking at some rivers rising in water level and even cresting, and more snowfall that can melt into water is not going to help. What you're looking at in all of these green is a series of river flood warnings that are still in effect across Kentucky as it borders a lot of these Midwestern states, but now they start to look toward the cold temperatures that even we here in East Tennessee are feeling as we speak. So ladies, a lot going on with Kentucky, the cold temperatures, the rain, the flooding. And so in the next half hour, or really in a couple of minutes, I'm going to talk about how they're dealing with all of those conditions. So I'll send it back to you too.
All right, thank you so much. Well, cold temperatures will be around for the rest of the week, and some of you asked whether TVA plans on doing rolling blackouts to conserve power.
Posts on social media began circulating yesterday that claimed TVA was planning on cutting power during extremely cold weather.
Eddie B reached out saying, just read on Facebook, TVA will be having rolling blackouts Thursday and Friday. Do you have any info?
So we took your questions to TVA officials, and we're able to verify that is not true. We confirmed the posts circulating online were from December 2022 when a winter storm hit the area. TVA spokesperson Scott Brooks says the power grid has not had any issues since that storm, and he does not expect any now.
He went on to say TVA set an all-time peak demand on January 22nd of this year, and the system had no issues then, and they don't expect them to happen again. They put more than $430 million into overall resiliency improvements last year. TVA has alerted utility boards, though, that the power supply is experiencing an increase in demand, so they ask you to conserve energy. You should lower your thermostat as comfortably as possible and avoid using large appliances like dishwashers or dryers during the peak hours of 5 in the morning to 11. Well, a unique partnership between state and rural farmers and contractors is helping clean East Tennessee waterways after Helene. Ellis Rold explains how this collab is helping a Greene County farmer.
Thousands of tons of Helene's wrath still lie along East Tennessee rivers.
It was a magnitude of debris that an individual landowner could never deal with.
But a cleanup plan is joining contractors, farmers, and TEMA together.
Are currently gathering and bunching debris and then working as quickly and safely as possible to remove the debris from the waterways.
Workers are stationed on farms like George Birdwell's that have access to the rivers. Progress is already visible.
It felt like it was almost instant, the cleanup. You know, where I could see the river from my home was almost overnight.
Landowners get paid to host equipment for cleanup stations.
Without property owners like the Birdwells, we wouldn't be able to do this.
Easing the financial burden of rebuilding.
With this contract, that's eased that a little bit.
And making normalcy feel near. In Greene County, I'm Ellis Rold.
Officials say there are more than 20 cleanup stations like this on farms across Tennessee. Debris removal is expected to last into the spring.
You're watching Fox 43 News this morning. When we come back, we hear more from people in Kentucky after the state was hit by deadly flooding and a snowstorm.
And at 7:45, how they're holding on to hope as they continue the recovery process.
And as we go to break, we want to take you outside. Here's a live look at the roads. I-640 at Western moving along just fine. The main roads seem to be clear, not causing too many problems at this time, but it's those back roads you got to watch for. We'll be right back after this.
couple different viewers across the area that a lot of back roads, secondary roads running into some concerns, but main roads do not appear to be too much of an issue at this time frame. We're going to hear more from Tavian on what we're seeing across the area in just a little bit. So here's a glimpse of your 7-day forecast. We're looking at temperatures starting off into the, into many of us, we're in the lower 20s and into the teens this morning. Not only do we have temperatures that are below freezing, but we also have the potential for seeing some flurries pushing up into the higher elevations. So there's a lot of alerts across the southeast, and this includes a cold weather warning, which is going to be for areas, or I should say extreme cold warning for areas in this dark blue. We have a cold weather advisory, which includes us here across most of Tennessee. Winter storm warnings up to our north, winter weather advisories that'll be in effect for the higher elevations here across East Tennessee. And well, snow is kind of our story this morning. For the extent of the day, we're going to be highlighting some frigid temperatures. High pressure is going to be sliding in just off to our northwest. This area of high pressure will be pushing into our region, allowing for some clearing skies tonight. It's going to be cold tonight. And then as we go throughout the rest of your Friday and into your Saturday, we'll start to see some improvements when it comes to our forecast. Some warmer weather, no major concerns when it comes to the roads. Finally, a dream of a forecast. When we look at your potential rainfall, we're not going to have much over the next 5 days. Really expect it to be a rather dry week. So if you've been kind of in a delay for getting outside, maybe you've had sports practices where this rain and snow has kind of put a damper on it, well, we're finally going to see some drier conditions throughout the next couple of days. Your 7-day forecast shows temperatures today and tomorrow staying well below average. We'll warm up into the 40s and 50s this weekend, still remaining below average. Our average high is 54, but next week we get back into the upper 50s and lower 60s. It's going to be like a heat wave. All right, we're going to send things over to you now, Tavian, as we are continuing to track a lot of things across the area, including perhaps some slowdowns.
Yes, some slowdowns for sure. We're taking a look at 640 at Broadway, where things are looking relatively clear. Really, all 4 of those lanes, not really seeing any issues in particular. You are maybe seeing a little bit of extra snow as you look along your entrance and exit ramps, so be especially careful of those. But we switch over into the graphics, and what you're actually going to see is a picture that was sent in to us by Megan Davis of the back roads in Newport. So when we look across all of our cameras across highways like I-40 and 81, we don't see any issues. We see a lot of clearing, but the back roads, according to Megan here, unfortunately have not seen a lot of clearing. You can see the snow-covered roads, even the tracks in them. Now we switch on over into your traffic map, and you're able to see, looks like now both of those crashes possibly resolved, but we are still looking at some backups as we look across I-81, possibly from that overturned vehicle. More slowdowns as we look further into parts of upper East Tennessee, because we have more of those back roads like Megan Davis was showing us. So that will definitely be something that we'll keep an eye on. But as of right now, thankfully, we are not seeing any slowdowns that are too bad. But we'll switch gears into everything that's been going on into Kentucky, because they have not been able to catch a break, whether it's the rain or the ice or the snow, sometimes all 3 consecutively from the same system.
When you get snow and ice on top of flooding, and your streets have been covered with mud, it presents a whole nother problem.
Problem without a definitive salt or propane, they're running out.
The busiest winter for us in probably a decade. We've gone through over 200,000 pounds of salt, 500 shovels, 1,400 sleds.
Sleds, bummer. We were sold out of snow shovels. We sold the last snow shovels yesterday afternoon, and we sold our last ice melt.
Now, many people are back at square zero with no idea of what's next. Their towns are in ruin and their resources are declining, but what they do know is that they are tired of the barrage, both civilians and emergency workers alike.
The last couple of days, I'm like, well, if it gets me, it does, you know. You can't fool with Mother Nature. It's hard to keep it from bothering you. You just kind of got to let go of it after a while and think God's got a reason behind it somewhere, and we'll figure it out somewhere down the road.
And that final phrase right there is proof that many are leaning on their faith to pull them through this. And another big factor in getting through hard times like this, community. It's paramount. On your screen, you're going to see a list of emergency shelter locations separated by the county. There are 12 of those total. In addition, there are state parks that have opened up their resort sections for emergency housing, both of which were announced by Governor Beshear. So these are a series of services that are released to help people that do not have somewhere to go. But thankfully, Rebecca, Becker, here in East Tennessee, we have been seeing our flood conditions go downward, and also now, both here in Kentucky, we're starting to see nicer conditions.
We certainly are. Thank you so much, Tavian, for all that coverage both here and across Southeast Kentucky. Now, we're giving you a glimpse into Douglas Lake this morning. This is an area in particular from really about 4:45 this morning until maybe about an hour or so ago. We had some pretty consistent snow moving into the area. Now, this is into an area where in particular we've had in some spots a nice dusting of snow. In other areas, some folks have said they've received another about 1/2 inch of precipitation. This is going to make things rather slippery as you head outside. We'll watch very cold temperatures remain in the forecast as we go throughout the evening hours tonight. Lows dropping down into the teens and into the single digits, and the bottom headline is probably my favorite. We're going to have warmer weather return as we go into the early part of next week. Here's a glimpse of some of the snow that we've had in place as of this morning. It's pushing up into the higher elevations, and just because a bulk of this moisture is moving up into the Smoky Mountains does not mean that it's not cold enough to just wring out the atmosphere. So a few additional flurries could be possible all the way through about mid-morning and into the early part of the afternoon. We're watching a cold weather advisory that is in effect all the way through tomorrow morning. Wind chill values tomorrow morning could get to be near 0. If not below 0. Ladies.
All right, thank you so much. We appreciate it. We get to more news after the break. 3 things to know, including how you can pay your respects to Channel 10 legend Margie Eisen.
Welcome back.
We've been on the air a long time and we're starting to get a little clueless. All right. We have the top 5 things you need to know this morning. Most school districts across East Tennessee have some issue today. They're either closed or delayed this morning due to the weather. We have a full list of delays online at WBIR.com or running at the bottom of your screen. But here's a look at a few. Knox, Blount, Jefferson County schools all out today. Alcoa and Lenore City schools are also out.
Leaders with the Tennessee Valley Authority are asking you to conserve energy. With cold temperatures settling in, TVA says there's an increased demand in its power supply. You can help conserve energy by lowering your thermostat, holding off on using dishwashers or dryers during peak hours of the morning, and turning off all lights and equipment that aren't being used, including decorative lighting like lamps.
Knoxville police searching for a man they say was involved in a shooting that killed a 21-year-old man. 19-year-old Tyzeek Wallace faces a second-degree murder charge. Officers say the shooting happened in the Pinnacle Park Apartments parking lot. They say Wallace left the scene in an Infiniti sedan. Police believe he's driving the car. If you know where the suspect is, call police.
Today, East Tennesseans will be able to say goodbye to Channel 10 legend and weather personality Margie Eisen. The Barry Lyndhurst Funeral Home will open its doors this morning at 11 for anyone who wants to pay their respects. The family asked instead of flowers, donations can be made to Sertoma of Knoxville. Margie passed away this past Sunday at the age of 84. Rebecca has the forecast now with an update. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Just a reminder, we do have a cold weather advisory that is going to be in effect until 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Hearing from some of our viewers on the conditions of what we're seeing on back roads and secondary roads this morning. I know for a lot of people following yesterday's snow, you may not have had the chance to go outside. So this morning may be the first opportunity that you're just kind of getting a glimpse of what the roads are like. Give yourself some extra time as we're still seeing some snow flurries up into the higher elevations. We'll highlight a nice warming trend that will be in place into early next week.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. I'm Heather Walliga. We're glad you're with us. It is 7:57 now, and today East Tennesseans will say goodbye to Channel 10 legend and weather personality Margie Eisen. The Barry Lyndhurst Funeral Home will open its doors this morning at 11 for anyone who wants to pay their respects. Margie was known for giving accurate forecasts with warmth and her signature wink. The family asked instead of flowers, donations can be made to Sertoma of Knoxville. Margie passed away this past Sunday at the age of 84. If you missed this morning's early show, you can still watch the latest local stories right now for free. 10 News Today streams every day on WBIR+. We're streaming right now on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV. All right, we want to get a check of the roads. It's the big story of the morning with Tavian. Good morning.
Good morning, Heather. We have seen some more crashes begin to pop up. What I'm giving you a look at right now is 640 at Western. We are definitely seeing some increased activity now that more people are stepping out the door and getting their day started. Now, we had Jim Snowden talking about that calcium chloride brine that's going back down on the ground to help to go against any of that go against the snow that may have fallen over the past couple of hours. But switch over into the drive times map in particular, because we are seeing that back roads and our higher elevation areas are not seeing that clearing. So please be especially careful if you have to step out, but if you don't, hang home for a while. We're still looking at the overturned vehicle that was on 81 northbound that is beginning to cause some slowdowns. And there's actually a new incident over in Knox County right along 275 southbound that popped up within really the last couple of minutes. Looks to be a single vehicle crash right there by mile marker 1.2. So I'll get a better look as to kind of what exactly that is, but it does look like it's going to be approaching the Baxter Avenue exit. So maybe somewhere between 2 and 3. I'll get some more information during the rest of the show. But for now, Beck, I'll send it over to you.
All right, thank you so much, Tavian. I will say, I think they took that vehicle off the roadway, may have towed it off the roadway. It was rather quick. So we're seeing some snow in place this morning. This is a glimpse over Gatlinburg. Warming up next week, folks.
were just dancing to the song.
I've never heard that much of it before. It's kind of cute.
We've been on the air for a lot of hours at this point.
I was wondering how long it was going to go on for. I was like, okay, let's keep this going.
Just a little ditty we like to call our opening music.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Keep the people entertained when we have them on the air for this long.
All right, we have live team coverage this morning, and we are streaming on WBIR Plus, and we are also on Fox this morning.
Is there any more snow falling, or has it stopped?
Yeah, I mean, we're still seeing these snow flurries up into the higher elevations, ladies. It's a beautiful view into Gatlinburg, and I wanted to give you this glimpse over downtown Knoxville. So today, I expect to see perhaps maybe some sunshine, a little bit more sunshine in comparison to what we had yesterday. Yesterday, I don't know about you, but if you had your kids at home, which most of us did, there was a moment where I was like, oh my gosh, let's all take a nap. Let's just get a moment just to close our eyes. It was exhausting yesterday, cold and snowy, and we're still seeing some snow flurries in place up into the higher elevations this morning. This is where I do expect to see some of these snow flurries kind of sticking around through mid-morning, even up into the early part of the afternoon. But it looks like a winter wonderland into the higher elevations. So satellite and radar, that's where we're picking up on most of this precip, and I actually foresee a lot of this precip staying up into the higher elevations, perhaps even through mid to late morning, early afternoon. And considering it's so cold outside, not only do I think that a lot of that snow is going to stay up into the higher elevations, but we may just wring out the atmosphere, and you might get the chance of seeing a few more flurries trying to sneak their way into your region. We have a cold weather advisory that's in effect until 10 o'clock this morning. That includes 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. That includes all of East Tennessee, highlighting these frigid temperatures in place. We're going to continue to see temperatures into the single digits, where our reporter Aaron is out live this morning. I believe they have temperatures down right around like 1 or 2 degrees. So it is freezing when it feels like we have that wind in place. We'll watch some breezier conditions throughout the rest of the day. We'll highlight your forecast and a look at your future cast coming up in just a little bit. Ladies.
All right, thank you. Right now, many of us are waking up to freezing temperatures. Road crews are warning of icy spots on those back roads.
Aaron Velasquez has been out on the roads all morning. He's in Morgan County. Good morning, Aaron.
Good morning, ladies. Yeah, we're in the Deer Lodge community here in Morgan County. I want to give you a look at Deer Lodge Highway behind me. Actually, we just saw multiple plow trucks come through this area, spreading salt first, and then in the next run, they went and plowed through. So this road is looking a lot cleaner since the last time you heard from me, which is good to hear. This isn't, this is a major highway. We did see TDOT on there out here, but we did see some Morgan County road crews as well, which I assume after they hit these major highways are going to start hitting a lot of those side roads, those connectionary roads, those back roads. I wanted to tell you, we came up, obviously, 162 into Oak Ridge. We didn't really encounter a lot of slickness when we came up here around 3 or 4 this morning. We did encounter in Wartburg, I will say on 62, I believe it was, going through the town of Wartburg, it kind of crests over a hill. We did encounter some slickness in that area. But we also, coming into Deer Lodge, coming up Rome Road, which brings you into Deer Lodge, we did see some slick ice patchy spots. And just some of the side roads all around us here in the community, driveways, things of that nature, back alleyways, they are still filled with snow. It has been snowing pretty consistently since we've arrived this morning. It's coming down very, very light right now. You could probably see it kind of wisping around my head as I talk here, but we're going to continue to see the road conditions up here. It's a good sign to see that road crews are already up working and clearing up some of these roadways, ladies.
Yep, they're on it. All right, Aaron, thank you so much.
Well, we are moving a little farther west from Aaron into Fentress County. We heard reports of slick and snowy roads, even some wrecks last night.
EMA Director James Bilbrey is live with us on the phone this morning. James, thanks for being with us. We know some of our northern areas got hit a little harder. How is it where you are?
Good morning. Yes, we had some, it's really a surprise to me that we got, I measured 2 inches this morning. So that was an addition on with 3 inches yesterday morning. So that puts us up to about 5 inches total. But the state road, they had come through and sawed it and everything, and it's pretty very decent. The snow is still covering on it. The city also, but our secondary roads, county roads, and side roads and everything is still extremely slick this morning. So we were asking everybody just to be careful and allow yourself extra time if you have to be out. Also, we have a morning low temperature this morning. WDB over here, our local radio station, 12 degrees. So that puts the wind chill down close to 0 there. So it's really just cold, and we also have our warming center in place. So that's what it looks like this morning.
All right, James, thank you so much. We certainly hope you guys are safe up there, and that melt will come soon, but maybe not soon enough.
Yeah, thanks for all the hard work you're doing. We appreciate it.
Well, in Blount County, people making sure their neighbors have a warm place to stay as we experience frigid temperatures throughout today and into tonight.
Tonight at 6, the First Baptist Church in Maryville will open its doors to anyone who needs it. Avery Gingrich shares their mission to the community.
It's cold outside, but these volunteers are radiating warmth.
Make sure it's warm.
I mean, it is a community of churches, of individuals that don't go to church, and of homeless folks that are unhoused. So it does take an entire village, if you will, to put this on.
Coordinator of John 316 Outreach Ministry, Dr. Philip Hoffman, says he and other volunteers have offered a warm meal, clean clothes, and a safe place to sleep to a growing number of people.
I don't know whether you were out much today, but it's miserable out there all day.
He says volunteers served 28 people on Monday night that nearly broke their record. He says there are at least a couple hundred people across Blount County who are considered unhoused. This is the 7th season the warming center at First Baptist Church in Maryville has been open. Hoffman says the first service night was in November. He ran back from a reunion to work. It's the 30th night that the center will be open, and the organizers say they plan on being open for 2 more. And while the numbers have varied, they say the energy is just as strong as day one.
And I think that's what we get out of it. We learn that everybody, no matter what, is a child of God that we can share with.
The center's 32 nights of service will be double its average. Hoffman says he and others are looking to open a day center soon to keep helping all year long. From Blount County, I'm Avery Gingrich.
Again, their doors open tonight at 6. They'll be open again tomorrow before they close for the season.
A unique partnership between state and rural farmers and contractors is helping clean East Tennessee waterways after Helene. Ellis Rold explains how the collaboration is helping a Greene County farmer.
The grounds of a Greene County farm are covered in mulch, not for a new landscape, but the remnants of an old one.
It was a magnitude of debris that an individual landowner could never deal with.
Thousands of tons of Helene's wrath lie along East Tennessee's rivers.
It's really eye-opening, you know, the more you ride, kind of the more you see.
But a cleanup plan hopes to make Helene a memory.
Working as quickly and safely as possible to remove the debris from the waterways.
TEMA hired contractors to station along rivers on farms like George Birdwell's.
You know, where I could see the river from my home was almost overnight. It felt like it was almost instant.
Those contractors are paying locals to host equipment on their properties to access the waterways.
Without property owners like the Birdwells, we wouldn't be able to do this.
Birdwell's 6th-generation family home was destroyed in Helene.
We were dealing with the majority of the cost of fixing the house on our own. With this contract, that's eased that a little bit.
The work looks far from over.
I mean, in many areas, it could be apocalyptic.
And the future looks different.
It'll never be the same river, but at the end of this mess, it'll feel better.
But day by day, it stacks up.
There'll be a day that, you know, all those little days of hard work, there'll be an end to this. You know, the story will be complete.
Officials say there are more than 20 cleanup stations just like this on farms across Tennessee. Debris removal is expected to last into the spring. Well, you are watching Fox 43, and we are also streaming on WBIR+. We'll hear more from Aaron about the icy roads in Morgan County coming up.
Yeah, we're starting to see these road crews starting to clear out
Good morning, everybody. Well, we're giving you a glimpse into Gatlinburg, where this is an area in particular where we do have snow that is continuing to come on down. And it's going to be with us, folks, as we go throughout really a good chunk of this morning and even up and into the afternoon. We're showing you Gatlinburg as you head outside early this morning. This is up into the higher elevations. And as you can see, a lot of this snow is just kind of getting hung up into the higher elevations. So parts of Blunt, Sevier, Cook, and into Greene counties. This is an area in particular where we are hearing multiple reports of some tough travel, and you may want to give yourself some extra time as you head outside, especially on those back roads and secondary roads. Temperatures today not going to get above freezing, so those back roads that have not had a lot of people traveling on them will likely remain snow covered. We're really not going to see a whole lot of sunshine into the afternoon as well. If we get some sunshine, that would be great. Keep in mind the sun in February has a little bit more power than, let's say, a system moving through in January. But if we see any melting, well, it's going to refreeze, folks, and we will see some concerns going into your Friday. Needless to say, folks, we're ready for next week. We have a cold weather advisory that's in effect for all of us here across East Tennessee. This is highlighting temperatures tonight that will be getting down into the single or double digits. Wind chill values getting to be closer to around 0. Cloud cover will be with us, hit or miss throughout the rest of the day. We'll gradually see some clearing skies overnight and into your Friday. High pressure will move off to our east, and in this process, it's going to allow for some warmer air to move in from the south, and that's going to allow for temperatures to start to warm on up across the region, and we are all about it. Looking at your potential rainfall, I don't foresee much in the next 5 days. We're going to have a fairly dry forecast, getting a chance to really clear things out a little bit, and for some, warm on up. We'll see rain chances return as we go into the end of next week, or I should say more so next week, Wednesday and into your Thursday. Your 7-day forecast shows temperatures staying into the 40s and 50s as we go into your Saturday and Sunday. 50s and potentially seeing highs near 60 degrees as we go into the middle part of next week. Certainly a lot to look forward to. We'll continue to have much more on your extended forecast coming up in just a little bit. But we are going to send things over to Tavian as he has been tracking some roads across the area. And Tavian, I mean, the back roads seem to be a little bit of some trouble spots, but the main roads, not too bad.
Exactly. You're taking a look here at 275 northbound at Woodland Avenue. Wanted to show this in particular because that's where we did see that single vehicle wreck. And like Rebecca said, they towed it out of the way pretty quickly, which is good news. But big curves like this, and if you drive 275 often, you'll get the big wind that kind of goes each way before you get towards that Baxter exit. You want to be especially careful right here because windy roads, black ice, it's a bad recipe. We switch over into your graphics and you're going to see a look here at a Newport. This is from Megan Davis. She sent it to Rebecca Sweet, where you're seeing that the back roads are not treated in the slightest. You can even see the tracks where people are trying to kind of follow behind each other to make their way off the back roads. But this road in particular has a nice little hill here that could definitely make it difficult for cars that are unprepared. So we want you to stay especially careful as you drive around the roads. I-81 northbound is still seeing some backups thanks to the overturned vehicle here by exit 36. That's Baileyton Road. But as we look elsewhere, we are definitely seeing some slowdowns in upper East Tennessee. Looks like Greenville in particular seeing a lot of slowdowns, possibly even from some flooding and otherwise. So just be especially careful, especially for those of you in upper East Tennessee. But ladies, I'll send things over to you.
All right, thank you so much.
Well, it is Black History Month, and today we share the story of Knoxville's forgotten champion, Big John Tate. Tate trained for his professional boxing career here in Knoxville and would claim the title of heavyweight champion of the world.
Our documentary on Big John Tate will be streaming on WBIR Plus later today. Here's a preview.
In this corner, from Knoxville, Tennessee, Big John Tate.
This poor, uneducated fella who came to town riding on the back of a trash truck would eventually become the heavyweight champion of the world.
I saw him fight in the Southeastern USA boxing tournament, and he beat a heavyweight that nobody could beat. I said, if you'll come to Knoxville, Tennessee and listen to what you're told to do, you'll be champion of the world.
40 miles outside of Johannesburg, and this is the most significant sports event South Africa has ever seen.
Helped to cause the first integration of the stadium in South Africa and create so much awareness of what was going on.
The new heavyweight champion of the world, John Tate.
People on the outside don't know what's going on the inside. This is a lot of work in here. If people go back and watch some of his old fights, then they can see that John was a very good boxer.
Will Evander Holyfield, Mike Tyson, or Roy Jones, who are more prominent names, and they all boxed in this gym, in that ring right there. People know their names more, but they don't know John.
He was a warrior, he was a champion. He was the baddest man on the planet for a minute.
We're going to turn gears over into Kentucky, where communities are still recovering from the deadly flooding over the weekend. Governor Andy Beshear confirmed at least 14 people have died in the floodwaters and also said that over 220 roads are now closed because of the flooding and snow. You can see in some of the video behind me where we have some of the snowfall that lies right along the edge, still on top of some of the floodwaters. So now we see everything beginning to freeze over, and now we've got businesses and people that are trying to pick their way up while seeing floods and flurries flying their way on down. Now, part of the reason that they're still seeing all this flooding is, well, they've just gotten a lot of rainfall. This winter has been berating them consistently, and we're still seeing high river levels. All of these dots here that you're seeing here, primarily in that light blue, that dark blue, and even a couple spots in black, are signifying high river levels. Some of them not even expected to crest until Friday or even the weekend, like the Ohio River. You're seeing a series of river flood warnings here in the green all along the Kentucky line as it borders other states in the Midwest. But while they're dealing with all of that, they're looking towards the cold. The light blue here, that cold weather advisory with more snow on top of that. Places getting upwards of another 2.5 inches with the snowfall that we saw on Wednesday and even leading overnight into your Tuesday. But they're feel like temperatures similar to us. Thankfully, starting to warm up as we get later into the morning. What feels like 13 degrees in Knoxville feels like 7 in Paducah, feels like 1 in Lexington, where they're still seeing those tough conditions. But really, like I said, this entire winter has just been tearing them down. This is a look at the snowfall that they've seen since December 1st. 20.6 inches in Louisville, 19 in Lexington, a little over 8 in Bowling Green and Paducah, and nearly 3 inches in Jackson. All of these totals significantly higher than what they see on a usual seasonal basis. So hopefully they get their break soon, but we've been talking about the warmer conditions, and I'll be talking more about how people are dealing with all of this in the next half hour. But Heather, I'll send it to you.
Oh, they certainly could use a break. All right, Tavian, thank you. We have more team coverage coming up at 8:30. We're going to check back in with Aaron Velasquez live in Morgan County.
Yeah, we're here in Deer Lodge in Morgan County monitoring the road conditions. We have seen some snowplow trucks come by, so they are looking a bit better than when we first arrived.
Good morning, everybody. Here's a glimpse over Gatlinburg this morning where we have had quite a bit of snow and it's continuing to come down. I'm curious if you are watching in this area. I'd love to know if you have the way of doing it properly. What's the additional snowfall totals that you've had? In some areas I've heard across this region, we've had some spots see anywhere between almost 1 to 2 inches of additional snow, which is exactly what we were expecting. We'll see a bulk of this moisture move through the area. This is primarily going to impact the higher elevations. This is not going to be the case for everyone, but with it being so cold outside, folks, there is the chance, even in areas not seeing a lot of this moisture, you may still see a few additional flurries. We'll highlight this and talk much more about this snow and frigid weather coming up.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. I'm Heather Walliga. It is 8:27 now. And turning to more of your local headlines, Knoxville police are searching for a man they say was involved in a shooting that killed a 21-year-old man. 19-year-old Tyzeek Wallace faces a second-degree murder charge. Officers say the shooting happened in the Pinnacle Park Apartments parking lot. They say Wallace left the scene in a sedan. Police believe he is driving that car. If you know where the suspect is, authorities want to hear from you. Call KPD or East Tennessee Valley Crime Stoppers. If you missed this morning's early show, you can still watch the latest local stories right now for free. 10 News Today streams every day on WBIR+. We're streaming now. It's available on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV. Let's send it over to Rebecca now to get a check of the roads. The forecast, still a lot of snow coming down there in some places.
Yes, we're still seeing quite a bit of snow moving up into the higher elevations. We'll get to more on that in just a moment, but this just happens to be the area in particular where we are watching a wreck. So we want to take you up into northeast Tennessee. This is a rolled over vehicle that we've had in place. This is going to be I-81 northbound right near the Baileyton exit, excuse me. And so then we're still seeing some slowdowns again, I-81 northbound due to a rolled over vehicle. We'll continue to monitor drive times across the area. We've heard from multiple folks that back roads and secondary roads are the area of concern. This is a glimpse over Gatlinburg this morning. The snow is continuing to come down. It is impressive, folks, and this is an area in particular that is going to be holding on to snow for at least the first part of the day. We may see a few additional flurries moving into parts of the Central Valley just because it's going to be so cold that the atmosphere is just going to wring itself out. We'll look at temperatures back into the upper 20s today, staying below freezing all afternoon, down into the teens and single digits tonight, warming up into the 40s and 50s this weekend.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thanks again for joining us here on Fox 43 and streaming live on WBIR+. We've got a full day for you.
Yeah, we sure do. Aaron is covering the roads in Morgan County. They're seeing some icy conditions. We'll check in with him coming up. Tavian is covering the roads in other parts of our viewing area as well.
And Rebecca, you got an eye on the snow, which was coming down in Gatlinburg recently.
I mean, Gatlinburg looks like a winter wonderland this morning. Truly, it's continuing to snow. Hey, if you're a fan of skiing, I bet Ober is going to be a wonderful place to go to. And we'll show you this viewpoint from Gatlinburg in just a moment. I do want to show you downtown Knoxville, though, where it's nice to see a little bit of some blue skies in place. Absolutely gorgeous. 20 degrees this morning as you head outside. It feels like 13. We're not going to have any temperatures today getting above freezing. So we will have a very cold afternoon. Highs today staying into the upper 20s. Lows tonight dropping back down into the teens and into the single digits. Now we are watching a bulk of this snow moving up into the higher elevations. That includes Blount, Sevier, Cocke, and Greene counties. But I want to preface and say that we have the possibility of seeing some of this snow even moving into parts of the Central Valley as we go throughout the middle part of the day. When it's this cold outside, there's the chance for the atmosphere just to wring itself out, and so we could see a few more additional little flurries. We do have a cold weather advisory that will be in effect until 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, and with every reason so, because it is just so cold outside. Wake up temperatures feeling like we are into the teens and into the single digits. You will want to bundle up. Make sure you are trying to limit the amount of time that you spend outside today. And if you do have to be outside, if you work outside, or if you are spending an extended period of time outdoors, you want to make sure that, again, you are covering all exposed skin. We'll continue to highlight more of your extended forecast coming up in just a little bit, and have a look at your 7-day. Ladies.
All right, thank you. Right now, many of us waking up to freezing temperatures. Actually, all of East Tennessee waking up to freezing temperatures, and that means icy spots.
That's right. Aaron Velasquez has been out on the roads. He's live in Morgan County. Good morning, Aaron.
Good morning, ladies. We're in the Deer Lodge community here in Morgan County. This is actually Deer Lodge Highway behind me. You just missed it. Just as we were, in our show open, we actually had about another 3 snowplows drive through this area. So this road behind me is all but cleared up. The snowplows are out working this morning. But I did, when we first arrived around 4 a.m. this morning, I spoke to a woman who was leaving her house for work. And she basically said that she was kind of like a roller coaster, that she had to hold on because her car was just sliding down the hill to get to her house. But that just shows you just what some folks are facing on those secondary and back roads in some of our more rural counties that don't see a lot of treatment and that don't see a lot of snowplows coming through. Obviously, the snowplows are going to prioritize the main highways and main roads, but when they can, they will hit those secondary and back roads. So viewers at home, be sure to keep us posted on what you're seeing in your community. I can tell you here in Deer Lodge, when I've been able to walk around, I have seen a lot of secondary roads that may not have seen a lot of snow plowing treatment, so they are pretty slick. Even here underneath my feet on the sides of the roads and the shoulders, it's all the snow that has been fallen from yesterday and today has been packed down, creating a really slick surface here on the sides of the road. So if you are walking maybe on some sidewalks, just be careful on that as well. We're hearing reports of some wrecks that occurred last night on a road coming out of Morgan into Fentress County, so we know that these slippery conditions have been around for a while and will continue to be here. I'll let you know how things look here in Morgan County throughout the rest of the morning, but for now, ladies, we'll send it back to you.
All right, Aaron, thank you so much.
We are going to send it to Tavian now. Good morning.
Good morning, ladies. It's really a good point that Aaron was bringing up and giving you a look here at 640 at Broadway, where you can see a lot of our main roads are particularly clear. Cars are driving by with no issues whatsoever, but I still want you to be especially careful, especially since the entirety of today is expected to sit below freezing. Your bridges and overpasses are always going to freeze faster. We'll switch on over into your graphics, and what you're going to see here is a picture sent in by Megan Davis. She was talking about how the back roads in Newport are not treated whatsoever. You can see some of the tracks that some vehicles are trying to follow in each other's footsteps, especially as they look towards some of those hills and other higher elevations. So please be especially careful. Now we'll switch gears into Kentucky to talk about how they are still dealing with all of the effects of that flooding. Communities are still recovering from all of this activity that we've seen over the weekend. Governor Beshear confirmed at least 14 people died in the floodwaters and also said that over 220 roads are now closed because of all of that snowfall. And so I have a look at some of the flooding that you see here behind me. What you're seeing right now is just a bundle of activity. I'll actually run back to that. It's a lot of really crazy video. You see flood water on the ground and snow flurries flying in the sky. This is all a look at a Painesville, Kentucky, somewhere that they are still recovering from everything that they have had happen in the past couple of weeks. I'll bring you over into that graphic that you had just seen, your river stream flows, because look around Kentucky and you see a lot of these black and dark blue dots. Those are signifying that there are still very high river levels. In fact, there are still a series of river flood warnings still in effect all along the Kentucky line as it borders a lot of these Midwestern states. But now, as they still are seeing flooding conditions, they look towards the cold here that's sitting in that light blue, the cold weather advisory, and additional snow that they got yesterday. Some places upwards of 2.5 inches, and you see some of those higher totals over into the west. All of that on top of cold, feel-like temperatures that are sitting in the single digits and even felt like the negatives at a time. Ladies, they are dealing with quite a lot of activity. And then the next half hour, I'll talk about how they're dealing with it all.
All right. Thank you so much. We appreciate it, Tavian.
Yeah.
Well, cold temperatures will stick around for the rest of the week. And some of you are asking whether TVA plans to roll or do rolling blackouts, we should say.
Yeah, posts on social media started circulating claiming that TVA was planning on cutting power due to the extreme cold. So we took your questions to TVA and we're able to verify that's not true. We confirmed the posts circulating online were from December of 2022 when a winter storm hit the area. TVA spokesman Scott Brooks says the power grid has not had any issues since that storm and he doesn't expect any now.
He went on to say TVA set an all-time peak demand on January 22nd of this year and the system had no issues then. He says TVA leaders invested more than $430 million in overall resiliency improvements in the last year. But TVA has alerted utility boards that its power supply is experiencing an increased demand. TVA is still asking people to conserve power where they can. You should lower your thermostat as comfortably as possible and avoid using large appliances like dishwashers or dryers during the peak hours of 5 in the morning to 11.
While our snow day was filled with sledding and snowball fights, safety always a priority. So here are some things to remember when you head outside. Dress in layers with the frigid temps. Make sure you're wearing warm hats, waterproof gloves and boots. Layer clothing to keep your body heat in. Wear moisture wicking fabric as your base layer to keep you dry. Cotton material traps moisture and can make you colder. And finally, know the difference between frostbite and hypothermia. For frostbite, symptoms include red, pale skin, numbness, stiff muscles, in severe cases, blistering on the skin. Hypothermia, you will experience slow, shallow breathing, confusion, memory loss, drowsiness, exhaustion, slurred speech, loss of coordination, slow, weak pulse. If you or someone you know is experiencing any of these symptoms, get to a warm area, remove wet layers of clothing, replace with dry clothing and blankets, and if you can, put the affected skin in warm water, not hot water, and also seek medical attention if it doesn't get better. Coming up, we'll check in with Aaron Velasquez in Morgan County about the extremely cold temperatures they're experiencing up there and also the road conditions. Aaron?
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of snowplows in the area coming through to clear off some of these roadways. Obviously, the snow's been falling all morning, so some accumulation is expected.
that is making its way into the region this morning. And this is where we're watching this snow that is probably going to consistently fall. At one point, the National Weather Service highlighting that this area in particular could have another 1 to 3 inches of snow. And we've been hearing reports and measurements in this area of some folks seeing close to 1 to 2 inches. So certainly not out of the question. Great news if maybe you're thinking, I'm not ready for spring, we still want to do some skiing. Well, that could certainly be a part of your forecast as we go throughout the rest of the weekend. We'll stay below freezing both today and tonight. We have a cold weather advisory that's in place through your Friday. Most of this moisture is now pushing off into North Carolina. This is something that we're going to continue to watch with a winter weather advisory in place. A cold weather advisory is in effect for us here across East Tennessee. We'll see these snow flurries carry on as we go throughout the first half of the day. Could even have a few snow flurries push their way into parts of the Central Valley. And then we'll see high pressure continue to make its way across the region. We'll have much more on your forecast coming up in just a little bit. Nice to see this warming trend moving into the area next week. Tavian, we're going to send things over to you, though, and get a check of what we've been seeing on the roads this morning.
Yeah, they've been pretty good for the most part, Rebecca. You're taking a look at a kind of fuzzy look over Alcoa Highway right there by Hunt Road. I believe that's going to be the bridge that you're seeing. And remember, your bridges and overpasses are always going to freeze first. But let's go ahead and switch on over into your graphics. We're thankfully seeing a lot of green as we look across your drive times map, and things have remained relatively calm. So we just want you guys to be as safe as possible as we get through the rest of this morning. Let's keep the crashes on the minimal. There we go. You're taking a look at Newport right now, where the back roads are not seeing any kind of clearing. So please be especially careful. Don't leave the house if you don't have to. Heather, I'll send it to you.
Tavian, thank you. We get some more team coverage just ahead. We check back in with Aaron live in Morgan County.
And this morning, people in Kentucky dealing with extreme temperatures, snow, and deadly conditions from flooding. At 8:47, we hear from people impacted and how they're holding up.
As we are going to continue to see some light snow showers continuing to push their way across the region this morning. I like giving you a glimpse over downtown Knoxville because it does look like we're seeing some improving conditions here into the Central Valley. Even though things seem quieter at this moment, I am encouraging you folks, if you don't have to be outside for an extended period of time today, I would highly advise it because we're going to be seeing some very cold temperatures as the day moves forward. We do have a cold weather advisory in place, forecasting highs today to stay below freezing, lows tonight dropping down into the teens and into the single digits, and we have the potential for seeing wind chill values near zero, if not trending even below zero. So it's going to be very cold. We'll watch a warming trend carry on as we go into the early part of next week. Highs finally getting a chance to get near average, if not even above average. Here's a loop as to what we've had really since early this morning, giving you a glimpse over the last 6 hours. And you'll notice this snow has been pushing through from west to east, and most of that precipitation is now up into the higher elevations, but we could have the possibility even here into the Central Valley for the atmosphere just to kind of wring itself out and give us a few more little flurries. Not expecting much in accumulation, but anything at this point on top of a very frozen surface and with the potential for some black ice, this could lead to some concerns on roadways. And we've heard from a lot of people that back roads and secondary roads and roads that are untreated happen to be the worst roads that we have across the area. Here is this cold weather advisory that is in effect, and it's going to be in effect until 10 o'clock going into your Friday morning tomorrow. This is highlighting the very chilly temperatures that we will have in place. Wind chill values tonight down into the single digits, perhaps even below zero possible as we go into the start of your Friday, especially if we start to see some of those skies clear out. We want to remind you folks of cold weather safety. So when it comes to cold weather, we like to say the 5 Ps: people, pets, plants, pipes, and practice fire safety. If you have kids at home like mine, they probably want to get outside and spend some time in the snow. Now you have to remind them to try and cover up as much exposed skin as you can. And when it comes to pets, you also want to make sure that they have a nice place to stay warm as well. Make sure they have an indoor space and an area of water that is not going to freeze over, considering all day today we will see temperatures below freezing. Now, you know, we've had some really interesting weather here across East Tennessee, but nowhere close to what we've had across parts of Southeast Kentucky. We have Tavian joining us right now. Tavian, you and I have been talking about this interesting weather. I mean, it was flooding, and now we have snow. We had severe weather not too long ago. It's been everything.
I mean, truly, if people think things in East Tennessee have been crazy, just think about our neighbors up into the north. Kentucky literally cannot get a break, whether it's the rain, the ice, the snow, the severe weather, the floods, and sometimes all of those things consecutively are from the same system.
When you get snow and ice on top of flooding and your streets have been covered with mud, it presents a whole nother problem.
A problem that is without a definitive solution. Many of the stores who sell resources like sandbags, salt, or propane, they're running out.
The busiest winter for us in probably a decade. We've gone through over 200,000 pounds of salt, 500 shovels, 1,400 sleds.
Sleds, bummer. We were sold out of snow shovels. We sold the last snow shovels yesterday afternoon, and we sold our last ice melt.
So now many people are back at square zero with no idea what's next. Their towns are in ruin, their resources are declining, but what they do know is that they are tired of the barrage, civilians and emergency workers alike.
The last couple of days, I'm like, well, if it gets me, it does, you know. You can't fool with Mother Nature. It's hard to keep it from bothering you. You just kind of got to let go of it after a while and think God's got a reason behind it somewhere, and we'll figure it out somewhere down the road.
That final phrase is proof that many are leaning into and on their faith to pull them through this. But community is also paramount in times like these. On your screens, you'll see a list of emergency shelter locations separated by county. There are 12 total. Now, in addition, there are state parks that have opened up their resorts for emergency housing that you can also see that it's going to actually supposed to pop up towards to your right. But some of those state parks, there are 5 of them in total. It really shows that it is a all hands on deck situation. Everybody in Kentucky supporting each other. Here's a look at some of those temporary shelters. You can find this list on WBIR.com, along with other ways that you can help people in the area. We'll get a check on more news, more weather, your traffic, and check in with our team in Morgan County coming up after the break.
Welcome back, everybody. 8:53 now. As you head out the door into freezing temperatures, we are getting one final check with our live crews, looking out for some dangerous spots on the roads.
That's right. Aaron Velasquez has been in Morgan County. Any changes up there?
Yeah, ladies, this is a live look at Deer Lodge Highway here in Morgan County. We've been kind of hanging around the Deer Lodge community all morning. We've been walking around, seeing some of their side roads. The highway has seen a ton of snowplows come through just in the last hour. We've seen them swing by multiple times, laying down salt, and then following up with a layer of plowing. So this highway looks pretty clear right now. Those main roads are going to be in conditions similar to this, but those side roads and back roads are where we're seeing some trouble. We've actually explored some of the Deer Lodge community here, walking onto some of the side roads, and unfortunately we can't show you them, but they are covered in a lot of snow and ice that has accumulated over the last day. It has been very lightly snowing this morning, and as you mentioned, those temperatures are frigid. Those temperatures are around 2 degrees with the feels like temperatures. So if you are heading out today, please, beanie, gloves that I forgot at home, scarves, things like that. You want to be bundled up because it is near freezing out. I mean, it is worse than freezing out here. Anytime you're spending more time outside than just a couple minutes, you're going to start feeling some pain in your extremities. So be sure to be prepared if you head out. And we've seen a lot of traffic through this area so far. Those more highly trafficked roads are going to be clearer than those back roads and side roads, but we'll see what we're seeing here in Morgan County. For now, ladies, we'll send it back to you.
Well, you've been outside for several hours, so you better get on inside and warm up.
He's like, yeah.
He's time to go.
Every time we go to Aaron, I hear him take a deep breath.
I know. Ladies, look at this winter wonderland into Gatlinburg. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. This is an area in particular that has been seeing so much snow this morning. I'm curious to see how much additional snow we've had. I know we've had viewers from the Newport area say the back roads and secondary roads have been more of an issue. Hopefully, if you are heading out on the roads this morning, you make it onto some of those main roads and everything is smooth sailing. The rest of the weekend, we're going to see temperatures warming on up.
Oh, finally.
Oh my gosh.
We deserve this.
We really do. We worked hard for it. Good morning, everybody. We're glad you're here. It is 8:57. Hope your day's going well. A pillar of a community for 30 years, being remembered as a family man, Morgan County Sheriff Wayne Potter died early Wednesday morning, and we now know when you can join the family in mourning. Potter's family set for Saturday. The family will welcome friends in the community at 11 in the morning until 2 at Wartburg Central High School. The funeral will follow immediately. If you missed the early show this morning, you can stream it now on WBIR+. For now, we send it to Rebecca Sweet. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, everybody. We're giving you a glimpse over Gatlinburg, where this area in particular has been a winter wonderland all morning. We're finally actually starting to see some of the snow that is falling take a little bit of a break. It's chilly outside. Wake-up temperatures for most of us down into the 20s, the lower 20s. 20s up into the teens with wind chill values into the, for some of us, single digits. So definitely a very cold start to the day. We'll see temperatures warming on up into the upper 20s as we go throughout the rest of the afternoon, staying below freezing today. Teens tonight with the cold weather advisory in effect until 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. 40s and 50s this weekend, 50s and 60s back into the forecast as we go into the weekend. Certainly a lot to look forward to as we head throughout the next couple of days and enjoy the sunshine. As for this morning, folks, drive with caution, and a reminder, if you need to be outside, make sure you bundle up and limit the amount of skin that is exposed to these elements. Have a great day.